Sir, Agent Coulson of S.H.I.E.L.D. is on the line.
I'm not in. I'm actually out.
There are so many gadgets in superhero movies, but how much do they cost? Don't know? Well, we are here to dive into the 10 most expensive superhero gadgets and find out which heroes, or villains, call them their own. 10. Iron Man Suit, Tony Stark. So how much does Iron Man's suit actually cost? Well, that's kind of a tricky question. After more than 50 years of comics, movies, and shows, Tony Stark has gone through tons of different armors, so there's no single price tag, but here are a few times where Marvel actually hinted at what his suits might cost. Back in 1993's Iron Manual, we got one of the few specific numbers. A single glove cost about $1.8 million. Yep, just one glove. So, if you do the math, the full suit could easily run into tens of millions, and that's not even counting labor. Then, in the 2010 Iron Man anime, Tony was trying to mass-produce his Dio armors. He even says to Japan's Minister of Defense, "Let's see what $1.5 billion can do." So that prototype alone was worth about that much. And finally, here's the big one, the God Killer Mark II from 2018. This monster-sized armor was designed to fight Celestials and cost around $4 billion. Tony even jokes about it, saying, "Those are $4 billion worth of fireworks right before it explodes." So yeah, depending on the version, Iron Man's suits range from a few million to several billion dollars. Definitely not your average wardrobe. But it's honestly tough to put a real price on Iron Man's suits because Tony Stark isn't your average weapons manufacturer. He's basically a one-man R&D department. Normally, a massive chunk of a company's research budget goes into paying hundreds of engineers, scientists, and technicians. But Stark does all that himself, designing, engineering, and even handling production, so he skips a ton of overhead costs right there. Even in the first Iron Man movie, he already had his own fabricator that could build just about anything once he uploaded the schematics. That means he was mostly paying for raw materials, not labor or factory time. Later, when he moved into nanotech, the process got even more efficient. Just a one-time setup for the nanotech fabricator, and then again, he's mostly paying for materials. Some people have estimated that he spent around $325 billion on all his suits up through Endgame, where he wore the Mark 85, but that number is wildly unrealistic. No one, not even a trillionaire, would blow over $300 billion just on armor. Even billionaires like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos couldn't liquidate that kind of money without tanking their companies. 9. Batmobile. The Batmobile is Batman's famous ride, the high-tech car he uses to patrol Gotham City, chase criminals, and handle heavy combat situations. It's stored in the Batcave and can enter or exit through secret passages. Since its debut in Detective Comics number 27 back in 1939, the Batmobile has taken on tons of designs, always keeping that Bat-inspired look with fins and dark colors. Over the years, it's been more than just a car. It's also served as a mobile lab, transport vehicle, and even a small tank, depending on the story. The first time the car was actually called the Batmobile was in Detective Comics number 48. Before that, Batman was just driving a regular red car. By Batman number 5, the Batmobile had evolved into a sleek black vehicle with a big bat ornament on the hood, a look that started to define it. Later, other Bat vehicles followed, like the Batcycle and Batboat. In the 1960s, the Batman TV show made the car world famous with its flashy Lincoln Futura design by George Barris. When the show ended, the comics shifted to darker tones again, and the Batmobile got a simpler, tougher look. Through the Bronze and modern ages of comics, the Batmobile's design kept changing with the times, sometimes looking practical, sometimes over the top. In stories like Cataclysm and Aftershock, Batman even had backup vehicles hidden across Gotham. In the 2000s, comics like Batman Hush showed multiple Batmobiles stored in the Batcave, representing different eras. By Batman and Robin, Bruce and Damian Wayne had a flying version that could shoot various projectiles. The 2010s rebooted it again, giving it an even more armored military-style design. In alternate stories like The Dark Knight Returns or Red Rain, the Batmobile's look changes wildly. from tank-like machines to convertible jet subs. No matter the version, though, the Batmobile has become one of the most iconic and recognizable vehicles in all of pop culture. But the real question is, how much does this coolest vehicle of all time cost? We never get an exact breakdown of Batman's expenses, but there's plenty of info out there to paint a rough picture, and it's insane. Some versions of the Bat suit alone can cost around $10,000, while the more advanced ones are worth as much as the annual defense budget of a small country. His Batmobiles? Around $1.8 million each, and he doesn't just have one sitting in the garage, he's got a whole fleet. Then there's his surveillance tech, which easily runs into the billions, and his lunar Batcave, yeah, the one on the moon, is valued at over $10 billion. 8. Captain America's Shield. Captain America's shield is one of the most iconic weapons in comic book history. It's not just a piece of gear, it represents American ideals and has become a symbol of heroism across generations. When Cap first appeared in 1941, his shield looked very different. It was shaped like a heater shield, made of steel, and debuted in Captain America Comics #1. But after another publisher complained that it looked too similar to their own hero shield, Marvel's predecessor Timely Comics changed it to the circular design we all know. That round shield made its first appearance in Captain America Comics #2. The backstory behind the shield evolved over time. In a later retelling, King T'Chaka of Wakanda gave Captain America a small sample of vibranium during World War II, which was then used to create his new, nearly indestructible circular shield. The retired triangular one was eventually destroyed, but reappeared in later comics and even ended up in the Smithsonian. The circular shield became Cap's trademark. It's a 2.5-foot wide disc weighing about 12 pounds, made from a one-of-a-kind alloy of vibranium and steel. The metallurgist Myron McLean accidentally created it while experimenting for the U.S. government. He never figured out how to duplicate it, though his later attempts led to the creation of Adamantium. The shield's unique composition lets it absorb vibrations and kinetic energy, making it practically unbreakable. Over the years, it's been destroyed a few times by the Molecule Man, Thanos, and others, but it always gets rebuilt or restored in some way. Iron Man even reforged it using Asgardian Uru metal after it was shattered by the Serpent. But how much does this cost? In Captain America: The First Avenger, Howard Stark mentions that the U.S. government only had a tiny bit of vibranium, just enough to make Cap's shield, which was already considered priceless. Later on, Marvel sources estimated that 1 gram of vibranium costs about $10,000. Since Cap's shield weighs around 12 pounds, or about 5,443 grams, that puts its value at roughly $54 million. 7. Black Panther's vibranium suit. The Panther habit, or vibranium suit, is the ceremonial and combat armor of Wakanda's ruler, first appearing in 1966 and created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. It blends royal tradition with advanced Wakandan tech, featuring vibranium that absorbs vibrations, anti-metal claws, night and infrared vision, and stealth cloaking. Over time, upgrades added gadgets like counter-frequency grenades, energy siphon daggers, hard light shields, and boots that absorb impact or let the wearer run across water. Some suits integrate Wakanda's AI tech for hacking and adaptability. Later versions include heavy mystical or combat armor like the Heavenly Armor, Civil War vibranium armor, and a Wakanda Hulkbuster. Used by T'Challa and Shuri, the Panther habit combines Wakanda's spirit, science, and royal authority into one of the most advanced superhero suits. Now, how much do these fusions cost? Well, here's a fun breakdown of how much Black Panther's vibranium suit might actually cost. First of all, Black Panther's suit isn't made of pure vibranium. It's laced with it, kind of like how Kevlar is layered. So, let's assume it's about 30% vibranium. Using T'Challa's stats, he's 6 feet tall and 200 pounds, we can estimate his full bodysuit covers around 2.13 square meters. The thickness isn't given anywhere, but since you can clearly see his muscles through the suit, 3 millimeters sounds fair. That gives the suit a total volume of roughly 13.6 trillion cubic millimeters. To compare, we can look at Cap's shield again. Using its dimensions, about 2.5 feet across and 6 inches tall, It has the volume of about 24 million cubic millimeters. Since that amount of vibranium costs $54 million, we can scale that up for Black Panther's suit. After doing the math, the vibranium portion of T'Challa's suit comes out to around 4 trillion cubic millimeters. When compared to the shield, that's about 169,475 times more vibranium, which means if each gram still costs $10,000, his suit would be worth about $9.2 trillion. Yeah, trillion with a T. 6. Spider-Man's Iron Spider Suit. The Iron Spider armor is one of Spider-Man's most advanced suits, built by Tony Stark after Peter Parker's resurrection to combine his agility with Stark tech. Its red and gold design mirrors Iron Man, and it's packed for combat and utility. The suit's signature feature is its mechanical spider arms, or Waldos, made from monatomic iron alloy crystal, which can manipulate objects, sense danger, act as extra limbs, and deliver electric stuns. It also includes gliding, life support, advanced communications, heat and impact resistance, and protection against nuclear, biological, and chemical threats. This fully functional Spider-Man suit would cost a staggering $16,415,000 per suit. The biggest chunk comes from the web shooters at $5 million, followed closely by the augmented reality HUD at $4.8 million and the advanced computer AI at $2.5 million. The raw materials, including graphene and Dyneema, add another $2.5 million, while the iconic suit voice like Jarvis or Karen costs about $1 million. Other components include a 3D printer for $310,000, a spider drone at $250,000, robotic iron spider arms for $50,000, and web gliders at $5,000. Altogether, it's an insane investment just to swing through the city streets, and that's not even factoring in spider sense. 5. Green Lantern's Power Ring. The Green Lantern Ring, or Power Ring, is one of the universe's most powerful weapons, turning the wearer's willpower into almost anything they imagine, from weapons and shields to entire environments. First worn on Earth by Alan Scott and powered by the Starheart, most rings draw from Oa's central power battery. Notable users include Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, Guy Gardner, Kyle Rayner, Simon Baz, and Jessica Cruz, with each ring adapting to the wearer's creativity. The ring can create constructs, project energy blasts, fly faster than light, phase through objects, heal, absorb energy, manipulate minds, and even enable time travel or pocket dimensions. It also serves as a translator, knowledge store, and equipment generator. Its power relies on focus and will, needs periodic recharging, and can be limited by certain energies or mental instability, though rings can duplicate themselves, act as beacons, and even sustain the user after death. The closest thing we've got to a power ring in real life is probably a 3D printer, since both basically make stuff when you give them the right commands. The fanciest, most high-tech 3D printers can go for over $1 million, with top-end models usually between $100,000 and $1 million, depending on what they can do and the materials they use. But a power ring? That thing is 1,000,000 times stronger, and it only runs on willpower. So if we try to put a price on it, we're talking 1,000,000 times 1,000,000. That's $1 trillion. That's my guess for what it would cost if it actually existed. What do you think? 4. Ant-Man Suit. The Ant-Man suit, based on PIM particles, can shrink or grow objects, communicate with ants through a cybernetic helmet, and is made from protective unstable molecules and steel mesh. Variations include the GI Ant-Man suit for S.H.I.E.L.D., the Ant-Man armor used by Boris with the Fantastic Four, and the stature suit Cassie Lang wore with the Young Avengers. While its full power isn't officially stated, the suit's quantum abilities are like a super advanced quantum computer, with real-world quantum computers costing around $20 million, multiplying that by 1,000 to reflect the suit's size shifting and quantum features gives it a theoretical value of about $20 billion. 3. Dr. Doom's Armor. Dr. Doom's armor is a nuclear-powered, computer-assisted titanium suit forged with magic and constantly upgraded, blending mystical protections with cutting-edge tech. It grants him superhuman strength, flight, energy projection, advanced sensors, force fields, and a ton of built-in gadgets, from concussive blasts and atomic blasters to infrared vision, solar energy absorption, and self-sustaining life support. Doom can also customize it with optional weapons like mini missile launchers, sonic drills, and hypno-impulsors, and it even contains mystical elements like splinters of the True Cross. Compared to Iron Man suits, which focus on tech innovation, AI, and nanotech upgrades, Doom's armor emphasizes magical enhancements and defensive capabilities, making it a self-sufficient mobile fortress. If priced like Tony Stark's high-end suits, Doom's armor would easily be worth around $3 to $4 billion, though much of that value comes from its magical and genius-driven features that money alone couldn't replicate. 2. Adamantium claws. Wolverine's claws are basically the ultimate superhero gear, tied straight to his painful history with the Weapon X program. When he first joined the X-Men, everyone thought his claws were just part of his gloves, but whenever he popped them out, they got a peek at his adamantium skeleton, a brutal reminder of the experiments he went through. This nearly indestructible metal, created by Dr. Myron McLean and inspired by the mythical adamantine mace of Hercules, was fused to his bones, turning his natural bone claws into deadly weapons while boosting his strength and mutant abilities. Over time, he's lost and regained the metal more than once, from Magneto ripping it out to Apocalypse putting it back, with his healing factor constantly being tested. Adamantium isn't always a blessing either. It poisoned him when his healing factor faltered. On top of all that, the claws are insanely valuable. Assuming adamantium costs $20,000 per gram, each claw, roughly 1 foot long with a small cross-section, has a volume of about 15.24 centimeters cubed. With 6 claws totaling 91.44 centimeters cubed and a density similar to steel at 8 grams per centimeters cubed, their combined weight comes to approximately 732 grams, making the material cost of Wolverine's claws roughly $14.6 million. 1. Phoenix Gun. The Phoenix Force is probably the strongest cosmic energy in the Marvel Universe. It has the power to destroy entire solar systems. The Phoenix Gun focuses all that energy into a single bullet. The problem is, it's so insanely powerful that it kills whoever fires it. Beast created it to take down the craziest extra-dimensional threats. Completely blowing up a planet like Earth with nukes? Basically impossible. You'd need trillions of times more energy than all the nukes in the world combined. Not happening anytime soon. About our system question. If you mean the solar system compared to Earth, here's a rough idea. Earth's diameter is about 12,742 kilometers. The solar system is massive. Up to Neptune, it's around 9 billion kilometers across, and if you include the Oort cloud, it stretches all the way to about 19 trillion kilometers. Roughly 2 light years. So yeah, Earth is basically a tiny speck. If Earth were a marble, the solar system out to Neptune would be hundreds of meters wide, and the Oort cloud would span kilometers. It's wild to imagine. As for the cost of a gun that can do all that, way beyond anything we could realistically calculate, but let's just say 900 sextillion. Yeah, it's ridiculously expensive. That's a wrap for today. Drop a comment below if you think any of these gadgets aren't priced right. And make sure to subscribe. We'll be bringing more updates on these and other exciting upcoming movies and series. See you next time.